I've got the splash page today as a corrective rally, but that's not quite true with a lot of cases because we expect stocks like META, NVIDIA, Apple, they can all make new highs. So we've always been looking at the markets as being bearish and bullish, and I know that's a little bit sort of frustrating, but I'm just really looking for trade setups. That's really all I can do. So on the long side, this is the S&P. On the long side here, as I've mentioned before, that we need to be long. We either need, I mean, yesterday I mentioned that you can go, short-term traders should be long, so that's not an issue. But in the next degree higher, in the sort of the next sort of pattern higher than that, the next level, we really need to see either 4,000 as a tested support with the classic trading levels pattern on it, so we've got a nice setup, or we need to see a nice impulse wave to the upside. Something that's going to give us a bit of gravity in terms of seeing 5 waves up here somewhere coming, stalling here or stalling here. And once we've got those 5 waves, well, then we'll have an ABC correction, and then we can build in over this side and through here and continue to build all through here if that's the case. Now, will that happen? Well, I don't know, but if it does, that's what we'll do. It's that simple, On the bearish side of things, we know that there's going to be a rally, so pointless in shorting it. So we started to short it, look at shorting the low here, then we bring it up to here, we can bring it up to here, and so on. We can't short it in here, that's not done. So we need a pattern to finish off in here, and then we need to look for another way in on the short side. So we don't have it yet either way. So the market will continue to move up higher over the next session and two. And so short-term traders can stay long in stocks and in most stocks anyway, not all stocks, and we'll point those out. So in terms of the bullish count here, we've got wave 1 here and 2 here and 1 here and 2 here. And on the bearish side of things, we'll have a look at that. And then obviously there's different stocks doing different things. So on the bearish side of things, this is quite a bearish count here, with 1 here and ABC for 2 here. And then down for 1 here, back for 2, down for 1 in blue, back for 2 in blue. Or we can actually look at all of this as also wave 1 here and going back for wave 2. So as I mentioned yesterday, we've got 2 2s in here, and we'll just let them play out and we'll let them see. As things, it's okay not to know. It's better to say that you don't know than you do know when you don't know, because as I mentioned yesterday as well, is that the answer to the problem is just patience and allowing it to be. Now, we know that short-term traders can stay long in the market, but only until it hits this brick wall at 4,000 here roughly. So yeah, there's not a lot to sort of say about the indices at this point. I mean, there are, even though this is a bearish count here, the Nasdaq is not looking bearish. It's looking more bullish, and it might sound a little bit sort of weird going sort of left field here, but normally when we look at Bitcoin, for example, we normally use that, Bitcoin just follows the Nasdaq, you know what I mean? And we leave it at that, and then what we're seeing in Bitcoin here is, I mean, I've got this as wave A here, don't have to worry about that, but this is the low in Bitcoin. We've already got a clear 1 2 3 4 5 here for wave 1 and back for wave 2, and now we've got a wave 1 up here and a wave 2. So this is looking extremely bullish. So wouldn't that be moving with the Nasdaq? So taking this top out here with Bitcoin, it's got to pull back into a little ABC pattern here, which is doing at the moment, and I won't go into that in this video. But if that top is taken out here, that's going to give Bitcoin 1 2 3 4 5 up here. So normally we look at Bitcoin to be the sort of just to sort of follow the Nasdaq, and they do have they've had equality in terms of moving together. This was a chart I did here a little I don't know, a week or two ago or something. But this is a weekly chart with with the Bitcoin and the US indices, the Nasdaq, and you can see that they're very close to each other, isn't it? You know, so there is a good case for looking at Bitcoin in this regard. And you may love Bitcoin, you may hate Bitcoin, but I'm not worried about that emotional stuff. Is that if this top is taken out, it can pull back. It doesn't have to, but if that top is taken out, that's going to force Bitcoin to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So think about that for a moment. You know, the Nasdaq is likely to follow that, and the Nasdaq is actually looking a bit more bullish than this particular pattern here, where where this has come down quite sharply here. Right, this has come down. That's the speed of that. Well, the Nasdaq is not like that. It's like that. It's like doesn't want to go down, and you can see that with stocks like Apple, NVIDIA, META, those sorts of things. Now, obviously, there's a lot going on in the world, around the world, in different ways. In Europe, you know, the inflation story hasn't changed. ECB is still at 50 basis points today. The Credit Suisse situation, you know, this banking thing is I think they're kind of isolated, and you know, the big boys are stepping up and you know, taking responsibility for the system, and so I mean, it doesn't, you know, they are cracks in the pavement kind of thing, but they at this stage they're isolated. They're, you know, under control. You know, monetary and you know, fiscal policy are talking points at the moment. So, you know, things are not so bad, I don't think, as we think they are. So, I mean, obviously, you know, there's a lot of debt, don't get me wrong, and I don't want to go into a conversation or start an argument, but when we look at like Apple here, for example, I mean, as I mentioned before, this is the perfect setup for me, you know, to go long in this particular market. At the same time, we've also been, because the markets have been bearish, we've also been looking at wave 2 to be over here, and we're still going to do that. We're going to look at both patterns, and we're going to drill into a point where we're only left with one situation at this point. So, yeah, but this is on the 20K, so this is the bullish count. And this is, you know, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and little 1 and 2 in here and moving up higher. So what we could say here as well, just realistically, this high here on top of wave 1 here, if that's breached, then it will take away the bearish count to a point, and that means we would need to look up here as, you know, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a bit like Bitcoin. How's that? You know. So yeah, I'm not saying Bitcoin's leading. It's just that sometimes, you know, we look at things and we don't see all the different facets of it. You know, we just sort of we lock in to one side of something or other. So anyway, this is this is a long trade setup for me, sitting here nicely. You know, it's done all the things. It's had the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the ABC correction, wave 1 and 2, and, you know, impulsive in this point here. I mean, sure, it could still fail at this point here, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail, but let's just go through and have a look at the various counts in here. So this is the count that we've been looking at here, with wave 1 here, with an A wave here, a B wave here, and then 1 and 2 to here. But this is going too high now, isn't it? So the only other thing to look at here next would be, in logical terms, to keep, you know, if because we're still bearish on, you know, banks, the BAC and so on, you know. So the B wave could go over here to an A and a B and a C wave, and we look for 5 waves up here. That could be a possibility as well, and then come down at that point and then go up there. So we could say to ourselves, rightio, if that was the case, then we could look at this leg here from this being an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. We could look at 5 waves here, and then anything above that, then it would have to be forced at being bullish at that point. And not only that, with the 5 waves up here, we'd be able to by the ABC pullback in this as well. So even though it's gone higher up here and it might reach 165 or whatever, but the pullback here, if we get the 5 waves here as an ABC here, the B wave here, we can go along. So it won't be as bad as you think it is, you know, in terms of, you know, getting in late and all of those sorts of things. So yeah. Let me just got to move an order here for that. That's sorry. Okay. Right. So yeah, just sort of shooting the breeze on this. That's all. Not a biggie. This we're at 10. We'll just go to 5 here for a second. So yeah. Well, this is the bullish. This is a bit more detail of a bullish count in here. So what I'm sort of thinking is most of the markets that I've been looking at are in this sort of sequence here. We're looking at 5 waves moving up. In this case here, I've got wave 3 here, 4 here, and 5 here. And NVIDIA is a little bit the same as this as well. But most of the stocks we're looking at, we're kind of just looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and same with the S&P and all that. So really, after this point here, we could actually look to go long at that point once we get those 5 waves out there. So it's not like we're missing much. First of all, we have to sort of, you know, because on the bearish count we've got the B wave over here. First of all, we're going to take this one out, and then if we take that one out, that will be nice as well. So it's basically a step-by-step process, that's all. And then we just need the market to fall into place, you know, come to us on our terms rather than chasing it and then and falling back. But like I said, you know, short-term traders can be long in most of the markets at this stage. So we're going to go into the 1000 and then the other one here. So this is where we were yesterday, looking at this as wave B here with wave 1, an A and a B and a C wave coming up here. So we kind of need this little 5 waves here to play out. We'll take a closer look at that, but it's really going to come quite close to this one here, isn't it? Too close. I think it's going to take it out in just these little 5 waves here, which we'll look at a bit closer in a moment for that. So yeah, I've just drawn that little trend line across here, but really it will be, what's that? That's the top of this one here. So yeah, but like I said, a B wave can also, if we put a B wave up here as an A and a B and a C wave, this means that would have to be wave 1 here and 2 here and 3 here. So it doesn't really get us out of the woods for a little bit here, wave 4 and then wave 5, and then we could come down at that point. So, you know, when we look at the rest of the stocks, we're just sort of monitoring this particular move up in most of the stocks and the indices. Yeah, once it finishes, then we make decisions about are we going to be short and long. And even when it tops out here, we don't know if we want to be short or long at that point. We still need to get more information over this side of the fence, you know. This will all be on this side, and then we need to look on this side to get the answers, because we know what the answer is here. We know that, you know, the market is going up. You know, we've known that for days. So let's this little move here. So from this wave B here, just to give you some insight here, we've got wave 1 and 2 here. And then I'm looking at this as 1 and 2 in here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, and fourth wave here. Let's move along. Let's scoot it along. Okay, and yeah. So this has still got further to go. This will be a little 1 and 2 in here, and a third wave. So we're going to be up in here for this. So if you're looking for a target area up here, and you know your level, so 1, 2, 3, 5, and then 8, and then group 2 in here. So we're moving up further in there. So I mean, that's, you know, as a day trader, by the way, as an intraday trader, this is the classic trading levels pattern at the second strongest number, number 5, and it's all perfect really. We had the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the A wave and ABC for the B wave, down for the C wave here as a wave 4, and then it just leaves you with that setup there. Now you can also improve it. There'll be another little classic trading levels pattern in here, and I can see where that is here. That will be that top just here for that. So you can continue to work it. You can look to add to the position on the next one up here, that sort of thing. You know where the next level is. You know what's going to happen when you get to you know what's going to happen when you get to 15650. So you're going to start to see profit taking coming in, all of that sort of stuff. But yeah, and the same thing here as well. You know, this is nice little pattern here, the long trade for here. I mean, it's easy in hindsight. I know that, because you don't see, you know, because we're looking at this. You know, it's easy, but still, if you're first high above the level, then the next one, and keep the stop under the previous level. Anyway, yeah, just shooting the breeze a little bit as we do on Apple. So with Amazon here, we've got bullish count and bearish count, and this is the bullish count. As I mentioned before we go bullish here, we'll have to, I mean, it's okay for short-term traders, and trading to 100, you want to get out anyway, because you're going to vibrate here above and below. And if you don't take your money at big numbers like this, you know, you'll find it a bit frustrating if you're still in the market at these big numbers. Unless you're taking a longer term view, that's okay. But if you're, you know, if you've got the habit of trading, staying in the market for, you know, markets tend to run for 3 or 4 days. You got that little group, and then you got the bigger group, which is 7 to 9 days. Those sort of groups of how they run before they create a new low. But if you're, you know, in that sort of in that basket, you'll find it very frustrating if you don't take money off the table when you hit big numbers. Rightio, so that's that count. The bearish count for this is, just go to 50k here for a moment, is this one here. So we can look at this top here down to here and look at this in terms of the 50-60% here. So it's above the 100 at this point. So we'll go into the, sorry, I haven't updated that for ages, but this one here. So we're looking at the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave up here. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 coming up into there. We'll have a closer look at that in a moment. But, you know, I mean, realistically, you know, we can look at this as wave 3 up here in the bullish count, right? We could look at this as wave 4 here, and then we could look at wave 5 here, for example. So if we got a larger 5 waves up here, that means that we would get here, we'd get an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave back again, and then we'll go up. So even if we got the 5 waves here, we can buy right back on the 50-60% and then build in through here if that's going to be the case. Anyway, we'll just focus on this little bit here, but it's just going to, you know, it's going to get messy around this area here. Let's just go to the 100. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as we're counting up the other day, and then 1 and 2, nice strong third wave. So we're in the 4th wave here, so that's going to get messy, and then wave 5, so it's going to push up here higher. But once it pushes up there higher, you know, even if this is, you know, on the flip side, a wave 3 up here, it's still going to give you grief because it will come back for a wave 4 again here. So it's you know, I can satisfy trading to the number and getting out is you know, at the end of the year when you add everything up, you're far better off financially and stress-free trading to the number and getting out, and not worrying about what it does. Because what happens here is that it just chews up your time, and it chews up your money if you're on margin as well, because big numbers will hold it here, and what will happen, it will just fluctuate above and below this number, group 1 and group 2 here, in that's the starting point for it all. And you'll end up, it'll go up and you'll be happy with that, but you won't get out because it's going up, you know what I mean? You'll think it's going up forever, and then it'll come back, it'll be pulled back down, and you'll either be stopped out, or you may sort of ride through that. All these it gets just too emotional. It's just not worth it, you know. So anyway, but I'll leave that to you. So NVIDIA is probably the strongest one out there, even though it hasn't moved as much as some of the other ones. It was just that it's just making new highs, you know, where the other markets are not. So obviously it's, you know, getting that support from the chip industry as such as well. But this is what we're looking at here. So yeah, I mean, we're going to see some fluctuations around the 250 area here, but looking at the actual structure from here, I mean, you may be able to do a few things here and put wave 1 over here or wave 1 over here and do a few things like that, but it doesn't really take it away from that we need to be going up in this third wave here. So yeah, in this case, we need to move higher here for this. So I won't worry about this too much. If you're long in this, well then that's fantastic. And yes, it will move higher. It needs to unwind for that. And META is another one that we looked at being bullish. So wave 3 here, wave 4 here, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 to move up higher. Once again, that's going to spend some time with 3 and 4 at this level, but we should be pushing higher into 220 to 230 in due course. So that gives you a bit of a sort of timing really on how far this how long this market should be. You know, when you look at META and NVIDIA here, you know, they've got a fair bit of time to go to the upside, which is in line with Bitcoin as well. I mean, Bitcoin could go up in 5 waves and, you know, hit a top like META here and then pull back at that point. But bullish all the same. Netflix here. So with Netflix here, we can look at this market. It's a bit of a long shot though. We can look at it as an A and a B and a C wave down to here, but I don't like the proportions of that, so we're not going to go with that. We're just still going to go with, yesterday we were looking at this being wave 4 or wave B. So yeah, it's probably this, but once again, I just needed to talk about this a little bit. I've got this as an A and a B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here, and then 3 here, and well, obviously 4 coming into play, and 5 here. But I don't know if this is correct. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it looks okay, but it could be something else. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. You know, and then I need to put the A wave up here and the B wave over here for this and come down deeper and all that sort of stuff, you know. So there's different ways to look at this, and B waves are like wave 4s. They're tricky little suckers. So we'll just be a little bit mindful about that. And if I'm wrong about this, then we'll come down, make a new low, and then we'll go up. But like I said, when we first arrived down here, this is our swing range at 3, group 1 and group 2 here. So this is what the market can do in this space. So that's why you don't really need to be making any decisions in this. You know, once you're in here, you need to make them when you come down. This is where, you know, you need to take money off the table, you know, all of it. When you've got an orange level, a major level, you need to take it all off, or, you know, most of it, and unless you're going into a, you know, got a longer term strategy and so on, you know. So buying. Yeah, anyway, I won't go into it. So Enphase, as I mentioned with this particular pattern, I don't know the answer to this pattern here just yet. We've got this as a wave B over here, but we could end up with some sort of triangle or wave B over here for this as well. So I don't know. I was looking at it in two different ways. We can look at it as wave 1 down to here, 2 to here, 1 here, and 2 to here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 here, back for 2 here, and then down at that point. But it's not often that a 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 actually pan out. So we could also look at this here as an ABC for the A wave, a B wave, and then the C wave, down here, if that's actually finished. Yeah, and then come back up higher. So yeah, I can't get a trade out of this just yet with this. We'll just keep looking at it. In the bigger picture, we were looking at it coming lower within all of this, so we'll just see how that goes. This low here hasn't been breached yet, but this move here is in 3 waves, so we would expect this low here to be breached, but we're not there yet. If we get a move up back up to here, and then we come back down here again, and we get the 200 as a classic trading levels pattern to the downside as resistance, then we can look for a short trade at that point. That will be reasonably safe, based on this. But this is a correct. But this being corrective here, we could look at this being. I've got this as 5 waves here, but it could also be viewed as corrective. So corrective, 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 corrective. We could get a corrective here, and that's where this wave E or B comes in here as a triangle pattern. I don't know. Google here. So this is the bearish pattern. So within this here, we need to get 5 waves from wave C to wave B, and that will be roughly the 50-60% retracement level area for that. So it's at the 61.8 at the moment, so it's quite close to that. So there'll be a little bit more upside. The 100 will pull the market to itself within all of this at this point. So we'll just keep a bit of an eye on that. We do have a bullish count for this as well, and the bullish count is on 20k, of course. So this is the bullish count here with 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. I always thought that was a little bit sort of flimsy, but at the moment it's looking quite good with that strong move going up there. So the strategy and tactics that we'll use is that once this move up here completes 5 waves, then it's going to pull back. Now, it's either going to end up coming down here, or it's going to give us, in both cases, it's going to give us this much. So it's either going to be 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 here to the downside at this point, right? And then we can look to short it over here. We could short it earlier if we get some information from other markets that things are, we can quite clearly see that things are bearish at that point. So that means we may be able to short it up here and do those sorts of things. On the long side, however, that will be the long trade at that point. So after 5 waves here as an impulse, then an ABC pattern here, and then pushing up from here and taking that top out. Now, once again, we may think to ourselves from other markets that while the markets are actually bullish, and we can see that now, did we see that here, here, or here? And if we can see it from here, we might be able to build in from here. But on the outskirts of things, this would be the short trade and this would be the long trade, and then we'll try to improve in on that. But going long here, I know that's like, oh, we've missed all of that, or this or that, which we haven't really, because we've been monitoring it to the upside and saying that it needs to go to the upside, and all of those sorts of things for the short-term trader. But we're looking for the next trend in the market, so we need this big pattern here to to resolve itself in one way or another. We're going to go in and take a closer look. That's just the bullish count here for that. So I'll just check on 1000 here. So this is the bearish count here, where we've got wave 1 over here. I mean, this counts down here as an A and a B and a C here, taking that as the top. But on the other Google, the non-voting share thing, this is not the high. The high is over here. So we've got 1 and 2 in that case, and 3. So we've got two things going on with this particular market. I've mentioned that many times, but I haven't really resolved it. So anyway, in this instance here, we're looking for 5 waves up here, as we just talked about, and then we'll look for that ABC correction here, and then we can go long above here on that second retest here is the ABC here. We can look to go short at that point. It'll be something like that, but we'll improve on that as we go. And on the 100 here, this is the count to the upside here. So from this low here, we've been counting up as 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third wave, fourth wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. It does look a bit like third wavy there, I have to say. So that's going to, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, it's going to go up a little bit higher up here. So this will be group 1 up here, so you'll need to, close enough for 1, 2, and 3 here, and then 5. So yeah, that's going to fall back at some point. I just got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. So that's going to go up a bit higher. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 3, 4, 5. We're going to end up probably just above the 102 in this space. It'll be something like this. And then it'll either come down from that point, and this will be our short trade, and this will be our long trade over here for that. I mean, of course, we need to tweak all of this in. That's 38.2% here. It may or may not come back to that, you know. But anyway, a dance across number 1 here, which is the strongest number in the market, number 1. So yeah, that's that. And Microsoft is doing basically the same as well. So we can look at this making new highs here too. So the A wave here, the B wave here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit different, but continues to push up. We always call number 8 a profit-taking number, so that's what you would trade to at that point. This is, I got this as a bearish count here as wave B here, but we can look at this as being bullish as well. I won't go into it at the moment. It doesn't make any difference because we still need that 5 waves to move out, you know, finish off here, and then this will be the same as the way that we treat Alphabet will be the same as we do for this market as well, because this here can be viewed as 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here. Okay, so Berkshire Hathaway here. So yeah, I had a closer look at this little move here, and I can get 5 waves to here. So it presents us with 2 situations. So I can look at all of this here as all the way down for the A wave here. Yeah, I could put this B wave over here, and I could put the C wave here for wave 4, and then that's the A, B, C for wave 4 in here. That's all done and dusted. Then we can look at this as wave 1 here with an A and a B, and we do actually have 5 waves in here, so we're going to have a look at that today. So that could be the low of wave 2 here. Now with this wave 2 here, which is kind of interesting really, because the length of this here is roughly the same length as wave A here. So we've got equality between A and C, which is what I really look for. On the bearish side of things, this is 5 waves here. So we could pull back up here in an ABC correction, and then, you know, continue to move down and put this over here for this, and put wave B over here as wave B of C. I think I'll just copy both of those there. So we can look at this as being bearish or bullish, and as I've mentioned before, we can go long above this high here. That's the safe trade at that point. Obviously we can do better than that, but we just need a little bit of time to see how this plays out here. So we're going to go in and just have a look at this. So we've got a bit of an idea, so from 1000 ticks to 100 ticks, and this is the move down here. We've got the A wave here, the A, B, C for the B wave, and then here we've got wave 1 and 2, and I'm going to look at all of this as 3 here. Could put that I might be able to do that a bit differently. I'll double check that a little bit later. But 3, a nice wave 4 here, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's even if you went over here with it, it's still complicated. So it's suitable for a wave 4. And then we got here from the top here, we got this down as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we're either going to build an impulse wave case here to go upwards further, you know, or we're going to end up, you know, put this as the supply level here. This 305 is really where it's at this point. So 5 is the second strongest number. So that's going to be, you know, quite critical there, but we'll use all the levels within there. Between 300 and 10, there'll be that's a minor level, and these are sub-levels. So the sub-levels will be 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. You can go in smaller into micro levels, but we're just going to keep a bit of an eye on this here. You know, currently we've got this is, you know, we could look at, it doesn't really give me 5 waves here, but I'm not going to judge that too quickly. It's definitely as something here and something here as a corrective move here. So, you know, I could look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then an A, B, C coming back here. I could go an A and a B and a C here and put wave 2 here, and that's done and dusted at that point. I can see that it can be done in a few different ways here, so I'm not that fussed about it just yet. I'm just going to stay out of the way. But I'm just pointing out that it's possible to have a low in here at this point, but we'll need to gather more information over here. And certainly on the short side of the market, that's the short trade at that point there, but we will look to improve on that as well. So anyway, interesting at that point. And Tesla. So yeah, we're looking at Tesla in 2 different ways. First of all, wave 1 up here with an A and a B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here for the C of wave 2. So that's good. The other one, if we're looking at the S&P moving up as a corrective rally, then we'll move up here as an A and a B and a C wave here, and then we'll come down here for this and then go up from that point. So there's 2 different ways we're looking at it. It's a bit of a shame, really. I mean, if I was, you know, if I knew that there's so much sort of confusion in the markets out there at the moment, if we knew that it was all bullish and all good, we'd be buying into this at the moment. But like I said yesterday and the day before, you can buy into these because they are going up, and this is, you know, on the bullish side here, we can look at this as wave 1 here, and wave 2 coming back into this. I could probably make that green as well, that 1 and 2, but yeah, but either it's 1 or 2 or the A, B and C to the upside. So we're just going to go and have a look at these. I can't remember which ones I've done on which charts, but we'll just go in and have a look. Okay, so this is the larger bearish count here. So yesterday we're counting 5 waves up here. So we've got the A wave, the B wave, and we're looking for a move up, and we're getting that move up, and it has now exposed this low here, so we can put that under here to short at this point. Now we can bring it up and move along and do that better, so we'll look at that. There should be some sort of relationship between the length of wave A and wave C, and the relationship, it might be equality, which we normally look for, you know, 100 each, but wave C may only be you know, 618 of wave A or something like that. So, and also the speed of which this goes to, if it's a well, let's just have a look at this. This wave A is normally quite fast in terms of speed, so that's the speed at this point. So we can put that on the bottom of that. So basically, if it's going to be a wave C, it will tend to be a bit lazier, you know, be something like that, you know, move away from that. If it's going to be a wave 3 to the upside, then it's going to be the same as wave A's speed or even better. So we'll see how that goes. It's just the personality of the structure, and it's not the end and B end, but it's, you know, just gives us a little bit of an idea. We can say, oh shit, that's pretty lazy. If that's going to be a third wave, that means that it should be really pushing off, but it's not, you know, it's hardly moving over the next 2 sessions, you know. It's probably a wave C, so we should really get ready to short. How can we go about doing that, you know, and start to work at that point and that kind of stuff. So I'll just cut through to the 100 ticks here, if I've even updated that. I can't remember if I have. No, I haven't updated it, but it is a little bit lazy. We've still got quite a way to go to get up here for this. It hasn't really moved along like the others, so it's kind of behaving like a wave C. There's some sort of 1 and 2 in there somewhere. I'll have to double check that. I mean, I kind of want to put that in green, really, but I mean, it could be just a wave 1. We have the extension in wave 1 here. You know, it's a little bit. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like the third wave there. So probably that belongs with that as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here. So if that'll be interesting, anyway, we'll check out that tomorrow. It doesn't really matter at this point, but that could be wave 1 here and 2 here, but it seems a little bit small. Otherwise we'll have to put wave 1 over here. But then if that's going to be wave 1 here, that means we're going to have wave 2, and then we're going to move past this box, you know, for this. I mean, the other thing here too is that we'll, on the bullish side, we'll either have this as 1 here and 2, and you know, wave 3 is going to be much longer, and that means that wave 1 will be here and 2 will be here, and then we'll end up getting this, and then we'll end up coming back like this. And if we do get the 5 waves here, this will be our buying this pullback here and building in over here for that. So we'll just see. We'll see what the trading gods deliver at this point. I'm sure there's an answer. I'm sure we should be able to work out an answer before we get here, but I don't have that yet. I don't get a lot of time to actually just ponder the market, you know, and that's kind of important really to do. I'm always just sort of working on the hop, which is not good. Just building this new website and running TradingLounge, and it's just one thing after another really. So that's that. And block, as I mentioned yesterday, I don't want to make any calls on it. I can see that it could be done in many different ways, but in a bit of a nutshell, we can go long above here and we can go short below here, and we just need to fill in all the dots in between that spaces. And it does appear that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, doesn't it? I mean, we could look at it as an A and a B and a C into the box. It's going to have trouble at 75. Always look for whatever 2 top and bottoms you've got, always look for the halfway mark, and 75, well, you can see here, you know, it's important. So we don't need to do anything here for a while. This is not going anywhere at this point. You know, we kind of want it, you know, if this is going to give us 5 waves up here, then we can have this ABC back, and you know, we might be able to get a little position in here on the long side, but then we'll pull this apart and have a closer look at this. But I don't want to do anything just yet. I know the banks are rallying, so that brings us into, I mean, the square's not really a bank, but it is a gateway, you know, of one description or another. So yeah, this move, as I mentioned, is just not finished. You know, we can't look at this as an ABC pattern here because it's taken out the low here, you know. I could look at it as a B wave down here, you know, as an A wave here, a B wave here, and we go for a C wave up here. That's possible, but that's just sort of speculation. It doesn't really help us at all. So this move down through here, we're looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and then we're looking at down for 3 here, and now we're looking at wave 4. So these were previous wave 4 tops, that one and that one. So, you know, we're going to be in there somewhere with that, you know. We can also see here too that you might need to check volume elsewhere, but we're not really seeing, just trying to get these things up here to function. So yeah, this bar here and this bar here, even though they have moved up, you know, that look bullish, doesn't it? But it's on lower volume than the previous bar, so that's divergence on that alone. So we're not seeing, you know, there's quite a lot of volume in here, and like I said, a lot of the depositors are, you know, rushing to the big banks, and, you know, I think BAC picked up $15 billion, or one of the big banks did. They'll all be picking up, you know, fantastic deposits and all the rest of it. So, and as my mate Anil said, I think he sent me an article, which I haven't had time to look yet, but old Bertie Buffett had picked up a chunk of this at this low price here, and that's what Warren says, isn't it? You know, he knows the value of companies like this, and he says he never looks to buy the bottom. You know, he never gets the bottom or anything like that. But you know, he'll get it down here somewhere. As we're technical analysis, sometimes we can, not always, but sometimes we can get things a little bit better. And it just seems to me that, you know, looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and then looking at this, you know, we haven't reached this 3rd wave here yet, and then there'll be the 4th wave, and then there'll be the 5th wave down here. How far this will stretch down, I don't know. It might be 24, 25, it could be anywhere between 20 and 24. I mean, if it hits 25, it's going to hit 24, you know, time it vibrates there. So, you know, maybe Warren could have gotten it $10 cheaper, but he's not really interested in that. But and we normally see a lot of volume come in at the bottom of the 3rd waves as well, you know. That's where the sort of it just gets pegged at that point, you know. But basically anybody that was going to get in, they get in at this point here, and then there's, you know, there's some laggers that sort of get in and help with wave 4 and all of those sort of things. But then once everybody's in and there's nobody to go in again, then it comes down again. Do you know what I mean? But it comes down on lighter volume, so it doesn't take a lot to turn it at that time, at that point. 5th volumes have got lower volume in them than the 3rd wave. So that's where we are for the banks, and yeah, we mentioned a little position up here. I think we could at least get down to 25 here. No, we would only get out of this if the 30 became a support with a nice classic trading levels pattern as a tested support to the upside. So you would have to be prepared to hold this at least to 31 here. Okay, if you're not happy with that idea, then, because, you know, if yeah, so on the upside here, if we were looking for the upside here, you know, if this was the $30 mark here, I have to wait for the first high to come in here. And then once, so there's no stop in here, so it would be around the 31. So the stop would have to wait for the high to come in, and then when it pulls back here, then put the stop up here. And then I'll bring it down to the second high over here. And if it gets triggered out at that point, well then fine. But doing it, having the stop this way, because I won't, you know, if the market comes back up to a number here, I won't have the stop on the, you know, new traders will have the stop on the big number here. That's what they'll do. They'll always gravitate, you know, that's the psychology of the markets, isn't it? They'll gravitate to the closest, largest number, and they'll put the stop there, or the entry there, whatever. But what we do is we know we know how it works. So we just basically wait it out, and we wait for the first high above the level. So I do that with all my stops, and I'll just pick whatever price point. And it's not that it's not that it always works, but I feel like if I if I do the right thing at the right time, at the end of the day, the numbers will add up better for me, and that's exactly what happens. So, yeah, I need to wait to see if this price point here will become the support or the resistance before I get out of the markets. I won't be emotionally poked and jostled to get out just because the price is moving up to that level. I have to wait for a whole process, a whole series of events to unfold, you know. Alrighty, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. And it is Friday today, isn't it? Friday, March the 17th. Okay, so enjoy the weekend. Cheers.